Last week we covered dry goods ordering, controlling your inventory, and the extreme importance on why you do that. Obviously, Mr. Drew Moody showed us at the tool that was that's a free tool for Finance 2.0, right? So
Yep.
if you are watching this as a replay and you haven't grabbed that tool yet, grab it. And if you need a quick walkthrough, you put a walkthrough video together, right, Drew, on that?
Yeah, I did. There's a loom on there.
Awesome. So that'll be available on there too. Highly recommend even if you don't implement it right away, just playing around with it. Even if it's something, it's a free tool, you can do whatever you want with it. If it's something that inspires you to add on or create a tool similar to your own, you can absolutely do that. You can always grab a project block and we put a tool together for you too. But here, at least, it's important that you have some form outside of just pen, paper, and memory when you're doing your inventory, because that works. But man, at scale, that starts to break down. You start finding holes, and you start realizing, like Drew said, obviously, you've got 85 boxes of strawberry smoothie mix hidden in a box somewhere in the back room, and you're like, oh, there's $1,300 that's just been sitting in the back of the shop forever that I could have been actually using for anything else. So super important. Again, I highly encourage you grab that. Today we are talking about your menu. The every coffee shop owners. It's funny, actually, I found that coffee shop owners, there's two types. There's either the people who absolutely love their menu and they're obsessed to the detail of everything about it, the font, the sizing, the color, the framing, everything at that. And then there's others who are just print out a piece of paper and tape it to the window. There's two extremes, and there's hardly ever anybody in between, which is interesting. But I mean, both of those extremes are not exactly awesome, especially if you're the type who's obsesses over your menu and it takes you 6 months to actually get it onto your building. That can be a problem. And if you don't care about it at all, well, your customers have no idea what they're ordering. So we're going to be talking about a menu assessment today. Not only your menu, but also your pricing. What are you charging for your products? Because obviously, just like with the inventory tool and dry goods ordering, if you don't have a good idea of what you're charging, why you're charging, again, you could be throwing money out the window or not pulling enough money in. So super important to be aware of these aspects. And of course, your menu is one of the first things that your customers really start to become familiar with when you're a coffee shop, whether you're an owner or an operator. The first thing that people are going to look up when they hear about you is, what's the menu? They're going to Google you. What's your menu look like? So very important piece to go over when it comes to running a coffee shop. Do you have any crazy menu stories, Drew, from the past? I can think of a few misspellings when it came to menus that we used in the past.
Crazy menu stories. Well, you'd always get the, what, you had a menu back there? Wait, there was a menu? I'm not supposed to, I thought this was the only one at the window.
Yeah.
So it's, make it something that's pretty and noticeable, because even if it is pretty noticeable, you still got to train people to see it. Yeah, not too many crazy stories about the menu.
That's a very good point, making it noticeable. Because the way we always ran it was we never had the the freestanding menu board. We didn't use speaker system or anything like that. So we spent a long time figuring out where to even put the menu. The pre-order menu was a huge thing for us that I think we didn't even realize until year 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Maybe we should have put a menu back there too, so that when they're waiting in line, they can decide what they want instead of spending 5 minutes at the window trying to decide what they want.
Yeah. Pre-order menu is definitely important.
Yeah, especially if you don't do that sort of drive up speaker style headset style of drive-through coffee, and you're relying solely on just talking at the window. If the customer doesn't know what they want before they get there, good luck trying to get them out in under 2 minutes, right? Alrighty, let's jump into it. So when you are assessing your menu and thinking over whether you've are freshly starting a coffee shop or you are operating a coffee shop, or you're getting ready to do an update, maybe a price increase, stuff like that. There's three sort of key areas that I think that you really need to think about when you're assessing a menu, and that is design, obviously, continuity of the menu itself and your offerings, and then of course, most importantly is pricing. Like I'd say those three things are probably equally important. Pricing, obviously, because that's going to determine how much of a profit your business makes. So that's really important. But design and continuity are equally important. You know, like Drew said, if your menu is not noticeable and people just drive by it, like good luck ever having a car time that's quick enough to get a lot of cars through, because of course with coffee we're, you know, high volume, low net profitability business. So you want to get cars through as quickly as possible. If you don't have a menu that stands out to grab people's attention and they're spending that time at the window, that's fewer cars you can get through in an hour. That's fewer dollars you can come through your window in an hour. So design's huge. Continuity is huge. If customers don't understand your menu, that's another problem. If they look at your menu and they're confused as to, if I get a 12-ounce latte and that's $3.75, and I get a 12-ounce vanilla latte and that's $3.50, why am I paying an extra 25 cents for a latte that doesn't have vanilla? Like that sort of continuity is what I'm talking about. Like, does your menu make sense? Because if it doesn't, then again, you're just causing your customers confusion. And if they're brand new customers, you're likely to lose them because they're like, I don't understand this place. I'm just gonna go to what I usually know. I'm just gonna go Starbucks because it's easy. I know that. So especially if you're trying to crack into a new market, it's good to have something that's understandable and is noticeable. So first off with design, yeah, go ahead.
Allowing, if the customer misses the pre-order menu and they get to the window, it invites them to ask so many more questions. I know if you have a menu that is explicit about what things cost and where things are at and what you can add on, it almost guides people into making that decision before they get to the window.
Yeah.
And feeling the crunch time instead of sitting there and being like, well, you guys have hemp milk? How much is 2 extra shots?
Yep.
So yeah, waiting until people get to the window is just inviting more and more questions.
Yeah, the whole idea, and really when you think about design and continuity in your menu, think of it in a sense of how can I make this thing so easy to understand that my customers don't ask questions. So I want it detailed enough that it doesn't invite questions, but not so detailed that they can't make a decision. That's a really fine line to try and tightrope walk across, because as most coffee shop owners, you're like, just list everything, list all the prices, and there you go. They'll never ask a question. But the backfire to that is they spend 3 minutes looking through all of the options. They go, wow, yeah, is it hemp milk or is it soy milk? Or do I want almond milk or is it coconut milk? Gosh, I got so many options, 12 ounce, 16 ounce. And then you lose time that way too. So definitely when it comes to design and continuity, does it make sense for the customer? Does an increase in size equal an increase in price? Does that go across the board? I've seen a lot of menus in the past where it goes like 12-ounce starts at $3.25, and then a 16 ounce is $3.75, and then a 20 ounce is $5.50. And you go, well, as a customer, I go, am I getting that much more of an increase in my drink to justify that price? That doesn't really make sense. I'll just get 2 12 ounces and drink them together or something like that. Like, so does your menu, does the continuity go through the pricing? Does it go through your offerings? If you offer hot, do you also offer iced? If you offer 12 ounces in your hot drinks, do you also offer 12 ounces in your iced drinks? So this sort of continuity can actually help the customer too, because if there's a continuity through your menu, then once they grasp a certain portion of your menu, then it erases a ton of questions. If they know what your sizes are for all of your drinks by just saying small, large, medium, large, then they don't have to go, what size can I get for this? What size can I get for this? What size can I get for this? Continuity really helps that. Mm-hmm. Another big thing is, does your menu highlight your signature items? I've seen a lot of menus that don't do that. Like, what are you known for? What would you say is HB Reno's known for drink, Tasha?
I would say the Snowy and the Mexi. It's made with like a Ghirardelli chocolate powder. It's our version of a white chocolate mocha, or the cinnamon Mexi mocha. So I would say that's probably our top sellers.
Yeah, yeah, and at Roasters, our previous line of work, it was the Rocket, which again, white people love white chocolate. It's
Mhm.
totally what it is. It's that white chocolate
It's
base.
It's
and
complimentary.
no matter where you go, it's always just like, can I get a white chocolate mocha? And every
Yeah.
store has a version of it. Yeah.
Yep, that white chocolate. It's always the seller. But I mean, that was highlighted on our menus. I'm sure HB Reno does the same thing. You're like, this is what we're known for. I always use the example, even when I was like training kids back in the day. Like, if you ever go to Bonefish Grill, like, what's the thing they're known for? Bang Bang Shrimp. Everybody
Bang, bang,
knows
shrimp.
Bang Bang Shrimp. You go to Burger King and it's the Whopper, or it's the Big Mac at McDonald's. Like, there is that item that your company is just known for, probably because it's really good, and probably because it's really bad for you, and that's what people love it.
What's the worst item on the menu?
But like, you want to highlight that because that is like a part of your branding too. So on your menu, you want to make sure that there's key components on your menu that are highlighting, this is who we are because we're known for X, we're known for Y. Get this together and you'll be a crazy customer, sort of thing. So is your menu highlighting what you're known for, as well as what you want to highlight on your menu is what's your biggest profit point?
Mm-hmm.
For us, towards the later years, that became energy drinks, because like, for us, energy drinks cost like, it was some insane like 67 cents to make. And for continuity in our menu, we charge them along the same price point of the rest of our drinks. And they got a big nice graphic with an energy drink that says, we do energy drinks, and it draws the eye, and the customers really go, oh yeah, energy drink.
Mm-hmm.
For us, that was great because we made so much off of the energy drinks, just because we cut the cost so much, we were able to have a super high profit point. So is your menu highlighting what you're really known for, and is it highlighting your biggest money maker? I would say those two things are what you really want to look at when it comes to the design of your menu. Like,
highlighting your Big Mac.
Yeah.
Well, and another thing, I was designing a menu a while back, and I was talking to a marketer. She has online marketing, and she's like, yeah, I like the way the menu is set up, because you're guiding my eyes here and guiding my eyes here. So the whole visual experience from top to bottom, my eyes are drawn to this drink and this drink the most.
Yeah.
So the visual start to finish of where do your eyes naturally, what are they drawn to? They're drawn to the big words. They're drawn to the pictures. And are things friendly to order, or is there just a bunch of little tiny words underneath them that make them more confusing? So, visual experience.
That again is another way to easily cut down on the time it takes for the customer to decide and to ask questions. Because if they go, oh, big picture, oh, that looks great, I want that, I don't have to make a decision, just give me that.
Just give me that.
So quick is on how that works. So and the next point, like you just mentioned, true, is your menu readable? Like, I see a lot of the menus where there's like that tiny text of like available in decaf, and that's great, but it's so small the customer can't really read it, so they immediately zone in on it and they go, what is that, what is that, what is that, what is that? And again, you're killing time in the ordering process, because they're trying to read all your little fine words. Because immediately when I see something in big bold letters and underneath it, I see a lot of fine print, I immediately go, oh, that's important, I should probably read that. What is that? It's a fine print, there's something important about it. So now I'm going to take the time to read all of your fine print, all of your menu, and about 20 seconds in, I go, oh, that really wasn't that important, and I still haven't decided what I want. So like, it's all about cutting off that time of the customer decision process, and adding all these little details everywhere is going to only increase that time. Highly recommend, if you can get away from it, like, make it as simple as possible without all that fine print. Sure, you might want to have some explanations as to what your drinks are, maybe a little bit, but not a ton. Like, I've seen like paragraphs of like espresso, like world's best espresso, grass-fed, dairy, local dairy. Like, you don't need all of that. That's not going to do anything for the customer. They're just reading and reading and reading. So again, there's a fine line to it, and we'll actually go over some examples here in a second of what I've seen of bad and good menus. Yeah, and then does your menu highlight what you know for? We hit that too. Like, really want to be sending home to the customer, and when it comes to your signature drinks, it's almost, you want to get to the point where you're telling the customer, this is what you want to order. Like your menu should show your offerings, but it should actually be a way of telling the customer what they should order, and not so much giving them a chance to decide what they want to order. I mean, that's sort of counterintuitive if you think about it for most places, but the idea is, especially in fast casual and quick coffee, you want to tell the customer what they want, because then they go and they order that thing, and if they like it, they go, they told me I should get this and I liked it and I loved it, I'm going to go back. It's all about letting them know what they want so that they take less time to order in a sort of fast environment. So I want to show, this is going to be fun. I want to show a couple examples of menus that are horrible and menus that are good. So this, I can't remember what this coffee shop was called. Hopefully they don't ever see this and see me bashing on them, but I mean, I'm just kidding. This is probably an early iteration, but first off, if you're in a car about 4 feet away from this, looking through your window, what price is a dirty chai? I mean, you're not gonna be able to read this. It's so small. Everything's one color. Everything's the same size text except for some headers. And so if I want to look for, if I could even find a hot latte, which I guess is here, or cappuccino, I've got to try and pinpoint this price if I want maybe a 12 ounce. Yeah. So that's a problem. The font isn't exactly a readable font. It's something you can talk about when it comes to design too, is even your font, if it's a very swirly or gosh, is it serif or sans serif font, super stylized font, it's going to be difficult to read. And again, it's going to take the customer time to figure out what you're trying to say. Is this a dirty chow or a dirty chai? If I've never had a chai before, I'm not going to know that. I'm going to call it a dirty chow, and then your employees are going to make fun of me because I've never heard of a dirty chai, you know, that whole thing. Coffee, toddy, I mean, this is all basic stuff that you would have on any menu. House blend decaf, sure, what's the difference between those? I don't know. And then I would also call out probably the background designs in this. It confuses the eye, so I don't really know where I'm looking at. The other thing is we don't know what this coffee shop does well or what they're known for. Maybe smoothies, because it seems to be a lot of info here. But even then, I'm getting way too much information. Like, I'm going to sit here and read this menu for a while to figure out what I want or what they even offer. And if I'm in a car with 5 other cars behind me, that's just backing up traffic and I'm taking forever. I'll probably just get frustrated and go with a vanilla latte or white mocha. Do you guys do white mochas? Cool, great. I don't know, because it doesn't say white chocolate anywhere on the menu, but I'm guessing maybe you do. So that would be an example of a bad menu. But they do to-go disposable insulated box for 12 bucks. Wow, that's a cheap price point right there. You can kind of tell actually by the prices here. Well, $3 for a 12-ounce latte. Yeah, what would you say? This is like 2011, maybe 2012.
Wow.
2012. Okay, so not a great menu. Let's go on to this one. This is a good one too. Whoa. Again, it's all the same color. I don't know, my eye doesn't know, like you're saying, Drew, like where do I go to look first?
Yeah. Where do I look first? Yeah, where do I start?
I'm just gonna read left to right as I go down. So that means I have to read through everything to find what I want. They did call out, it looks like maybe a signature drink here, but even then I'm confused as to why it looks like this. You know, we do have some continuity across the board when it comes to their pricing. That's great. But again, if you're at 3 feet, all you're going to see is yellow and black, and it's going to take you so long to figure out what you want here. And I would say too, they don't really tell me like alchemy. What is alchemy in this menu? Alchemy spiced mocha, that's about it. But again, they got alchemy limited. I didn't even notice that before. Only in the South Baldwin Center cider. Cider. So again, not great. These are both examples of giving your customer too many details.
Really busy.
Yeah, extremely busy. I guarantee you at some point, maybe the owners were like, I'm tired of people asking me questions, so I'm just gonna tell them everything up front. But again, that's an issue because now you've got customers who are staring for minutes at your menu. Instead of you just saying, hey, this is what you want, you should get this. Yogurt, granola, berries. Sounds great. All right, let's go over to some better examples. This is a guy I found too, which is really great. Immediately I go boom, boom, boom. This is what I want to look at. I like hot, I like cold, I like blended. I like energy. And we've got great contrast when it comes to the text to the background, but also framing out of where I should be looking. So I see a square, I should look there. I see a square, I should look there. I see a big square here, I should probably look there. And I can easily go, instead of having to read through all of these, this is what's great about these pictures, is I can easily go, what do I want today? Hot, iced, or blended? And I could just go to that box. Instead of having to read through every line and figuring out what that is, I can just go, I want a blended drink today. Cool, any signature? Awesome, so I'll just pick my signature now. Again, you're telling the customer, this is what you want. Don't look anywhere else, but right here. This is all the information you need. And this will take you a lot less time. And it makes it really easy when it comes to the size too. I know exactly what that is. There's not like a 350/12 ounce, $4/60 ounce, $5/20 ounce. That's busying up my menu. It's just small, medium, large, down the rows, making it super simple for people. And they've got their, yay, white chocolate, sweet. Macadamia nut and coconut. Sounds kind of like the rocket, actually. Coconut had it.
Tropical rocket.
Yes, energy drink, awesome. And then with every menu, you've got some add-ons at the bottom. So again, way easier to read. It doesn't like give you a headache the minute you see it, like like this one. Because that just hurts my eyes. And then the last iteration of roasters is what we came up with. I think this was post us, Drew, you and I. But again, very large call to action when it comes to this is what we're known for. This is what we're known for here. This is what makes us the most money. We want you to get one of these two things. There's some other stuff in here too, if you like the other stuff, but we really want you to get these two things here. And we're going to draw your eye to it. And we're going to make sure that you see that. And hopefully this sweet picture gets you to order this instead of having to ask questions about these. So again, we've got a coffee alternative here for those people, again, who, if they're like at a coffee shop, because we all know those coffee shop people that come through, they're like, I don't drink coffee. So on your menu, you have a picture of, this is for you people who don't drink coffee. Immediately it draws their eye here and they go, okay, this is if I don't like coffee, I can go here. So drawing your customer to what you want them to get, super important. And it just gets people to the line that much faster.
And if your menu is less messy, you have room to have the beautiful photos of drinks, which can be a fantastic marketing upsell if you do charge extra for drizzle, or you charge extra for add-ons into specific drinks. If you make them look real nice, well, the customer's going to say, I want it to look like what's on the menu because that looks delicious.
Yeah,
you're like, extra 50 cents, but yeah, of course, whatever you want.
For sure. I mean, your menu is really it's just that it's doing two functions. It's telling your customers what to order, but it's also marketing. It's one of the first points of marketing that people come across when it comes to your coffee shop. So if you can market your drinks just like you would if they were to see something on Instagram and they go, I want that, no matter what that is or what it costs, that looks good and I want it. I mean, it's why when you go to McDonald's or Burger King, they have a picture of every item that's on their menu because it makes you go, oh, that looks good. I want that. I don't care how much it costs. I want to get that. So yeah, just like marketing on social media or whatever marketing you're doing, if you're showing the customer, upsells in the pictures when they ask for it, then they don't care if you say it's an extra 25 cents or an extra 50 cents. Also a good thing to point out, which I didn't in these last two menus, is finding ways that you can consolidate your menu so that it frees up more room is super important too. If you'll notice on this menu and on this menu, when it comes to blended drinks, they just tell you, hey, it's just this plus a little extra. Like I'm not going through, I think they did it here. They didn't have blended drinks there. What about blended drinks here? No, they didn't offer blended drinks, but you will see a lot of, and we did the same thing. You'll see a lot of companies that list out all of their blended drinks just like they do their signature drinks or their classics. You don't need to do that. That's just taking up space. To say, hey, we make all of these things too in a fancy milkshake way plus 50 cents. And you can free up a lot of room on your menu and actually make it make room for those fancy images.
Well, it's much less scary to, you know, some customers are afraid to ask questions. So when you explain things in a nice, simple, understandable way, they feel a little bit more welcome at your business.
Yeah, super true. Okay, so those examples of bad and good, I recommend sticking with the good. That's the best way to go about it. And this, of course, I mean, isn't the end all be all. I'm sure there's even better ways to do this. It just takes really thinking about your menu and being creative about how you are displaying your products and what you want your people to purchase.
Well, there's you know, something to be said about having nice contrasting colors on your menu, but if the contrasting colors cause a headache, you got to be careful because there's a limit of too much contrast when the colors are no longer complementary. And yeah, and then, you know, readable from a distance of 3 feet, I'd say would probably be a good size ratio.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, this contrast great. It pops out, I can read it.
It's great.
This hypnotizes me.
Yeah.
Like, it really does sort of like because there's no breaking point.
It's like the lines at the top, like that's where I'm like,
and maybe that was their goal the whole time. They're just gonna draw you into staring at their menu for an hour. But it just it washes. If you contrast is good, but yeah, exactly like I said, if it's too high contrasty or you don't have coordinating colors, or if it's just too much information, then you hypnotize your customer and they're like, what did I read that yet or not?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So that's design continuity. I mean, obviously, I would say if you're an operator, you may not have a lot of control over this, especially like if you're a franchisee for Reno. But menu updates happen all the time, and they should happen all the time. So not consistently all the time,
every month,
on a semi-regular basis. So you can add input to the menu. Even feedback from customers were like, look, we added this item to our menu and people will not stop asking us about this item. You know, usually people go, that's great, we're selling more of these items. We're like, well, no, it takes 2 minutes to explain this to customers every single time. That means it's not clear. That means that they don't understand it. It's not simple enough, or it's too complex, or it's just not a good item to have on your menu. There's a lot of items that that baristas make that are off menu items for a reason. Like you want that to be off menu because it's super complicated. It's expensive probably. You don't want people ordering it a lot. Or if you could put it on the menu, people would be like, what's that? And then you get into a whole list of questions and answers. So I would say if you can, always add input, feedback to whoever's designing your menus, if you're not designing them yourself. And just throw eyes on it. Say, hey, how does this look to my baristas? How does this look to my customers? And provide some honest feedback so that it doesn't bite you in the butt down the road and your car times start piling up. If you're ever redoing a menu, it should be theoretically, if you're revamping your menu or updating your menu, it should be easier to read every time that you do it. Because guaranteed, when you're first starting off, you're going to do just like that first bad menu, like you just list everything. Guaranteed, we did that. But every iteration should be getting simpler and simpler and easier to read because your customers are constantly giving you feedback and you're learning from your customers on what's difficult to read, what they don't understand. Does that really need to be on the menu? Like, do I need to list the fact that we have, a mocha is, milk and chocolate and espresso? Or is that kind of just common knowledge now when people go to coffee shops that a mocha is chocolate? So maybe I don't need the fine print underneath mocha because people just know that's what a mocha is. And sit down, the last question.
We talked about it today, Tasha, earlier about, depending on where you're at, your menu could get pretty sun washed too. So choosing your color scheme that is going to look nice after a year in direct sunlight, that's not going to fade really bad and the colors are going to get all distorted. What you're making your menus out of, those are all factors that you want to consider.
Yeah, definitely that background color is huge. And you pointed out a great tip too with the background, like our buildings are brown and having a back color of brown, it's like where does it stop or begin? The menu, or is this
People are backing up. They're like, was there more menu back there?
Yeah, so color scheme is huge for sure. And having those dark menus, the sun eats away at it so quick.
That's a really good point. Yeah, that especially if they're like printed on like a plastic or anything like that, or if they're a sticker, that fades out so fast, incredibly fast.
Or like paper stuck in a frame. That'll fade out.
That gets rained on and washed out.
Yeah.
Been there, done that, right? Okay, let's talk about, so there's your design, your continuity. Let's talk about pricing. You know, every owner's favorite, coffee shop owner's favorite thing to talk about, because that means dollars are coming in, right? So some things to consider when you're pricing out a menu, or maybe when you're doing a price increase on a menu, you're building a brand new menu, that is, what's your profit point, your profit percentage on the drinks that you're selling? What's your local competition? Does the cost to consumer reflect the quality of the experience that they're having at your location? So profit percentage, it takes me X amount of dollars to make this drink. How much am I making back from that drink? And we have a tool. Actually, I put it together and I sent it over to Ryan, who's not here, but he has it on. Let me just share my screen real quick. This handy dandy little menu retail analysis tool. I put this together quite a while ago for myself, actually, to give answers to my previous owner on how much are we making off of our drinks. Now, most owners, they'll have a roundabout idea of, it takes me like $3 to make it, or it takes me $1.50 to make it. I'm going to charge double that so I can make 100% back, or 100% on the drink, and that's that. The problem with that is that doesn't get down to the penny. And when you're talking about this industry, where literally your profit margins are so tiny because of the extremely high overhead, those pennies really add up. And if you're not paying attention to the structure of your drinks and where those pennies come in and where they go, you could be bleeding cash really easily because of the high volume of this industry, right? If I lose 10 cents a drink, that's not that big of a deal. If I only sell 5 drinks a day, I've lost 50 cents, big whoop. But if I'm doing 2,000 cups a day, that 10 cents adds up really quick every single day, day over day. And that's, you know, that many amount of dollars I could be having in my back pocket if I was just paying attention to how much my drinks actually cost. So this is a more basic tool of what I've created in the past. In the past, what I did for our company was we did this, or I did this, but for our entire menu. So I went hot drinks, iced drinks, blended drinks, Italian sodas, all the way down the entire menu. And if you're watching this at some point and you want that, we can totally do that for you. It's very, very in depth and it's very detailed. But once you have it, you can then go in and update prices through this little data tab with how much your vendors are charging you. You just plug in the price. You know, it's just a matter of looking at a few of your invoices. You know, my vendor charges me $6 for a gallon of chocolate milk. Cool. You input that. Now you've got all the data you need. But if you want a more detailed version, we can totally put that together for you. Grab a project block. I'd love to do that. This is the more basic stripped down version. And all it is just think of it like a little game of, I'm the customer. Here's what I want. This is the way I explain it to everybody is, I'm coming into your establishment and I'm going to order a drink, and let's find out how much that drink costs and how much that drink is going to make me as the owner in profit. So if I'm the customer and I come in and I say, I'd like a hot 12-ounce vanilla latte, super simple, right? This tool allows you to just plug in those options. So obviously cup lid straw, it's pretty basic to every drink. Dairy, this is built off of, again, the milk here at an average cost of about 4 cents an ounce. In a more detailed version of this, I would have broken this out per milk type instead of just dairy. Because it's a simpler version, we're just gonna go average cost of milk. So if my average cost of milk is about 4 cents an ounce, this is what it would cost me in a 12-ounce, 40 cents there. Or if I'm, you know, one of those customers wants a soy vanilla latte, I can't switch this over to alternative. You can see Again, alternative milks are incredibly costly. So if you're not increasing the retail price point of that drink, if they order alternative milks, you're throwing money out the window for sure. And so let's say I've got my ounce of flavor, which is fairly standard, maybe 2 ounces if you do your drinks a little on the sweeter side. So for a 12-ounce hot vanilla latte with a double espresso in it, according to what I've input based off of my invoices, this drink should cost me about $1.32 to make. And that's just product. In this version, it's just based off of your COGS. In the more detailed version, we actually add in an average labor price in there. So $1.32 to make the drink. Maybe add another 25 to 30 cents for a person making that drink, your labor. So it should cost me around $1.32. And if my current retail price is $4 for that, I should be netting $2.68, which is pretty good. I want to effectively double my cost. I don't want to just break even. I want my net to be double what it cost me to make that, because then I know that I'm covering all my bases. Because of course this is just for this drink, but you've also got to remember that in the coffee business we have leases, we have insurance, we have employees, we have employee insurance, we have labor. Like, I want to get this number as high as I can to really cover all my bases and still be making a profit as a coffee company. So great, 268, I like that. Other great thing about this tool is I can add in my competitors' prices for the same drink. If I go to Dutch Bros, maybe that's $4.50. I can see, okay, this is how much they're making a 12-ounce vanilla latte. This is something to consider if I want to think about a price increase, which we'll get to in a second too. So I believe we have this tool also on the resources site. If you ever want to purchase it, I think it's $97. But you also get that towards a project block. If you ever want a project block, we'll credit you towards that. So you can always get this for yourself and play around with it. Again, the great thing is you can input this data with whatever your current coffee company is receiving in invoices. And there's this fun little section up here this is your current retail pricing. If you're thinking about increasing your prices, you can also test that out and see what that looks like. Maybe I want to increase everything by a quarter. And I can go back here now and I should be able to see the difference between this is my current retail pricing and how much I'm netting if I were to actually charge for the customer, what they need. So let's go back to 12 months. There we go. So this is what I'm currently making off of this drink. But if I want to go to that proposed price increase, I can see that increase as well in the net profit. So super fun tool to use. I highly recommend, if you don't have anything like this, to either grab it or to build something yourself where you're really looking at what am I making down to the penny, because now I can see if these drinks are, if this is dipping below this, double mark, if I'm not doubling my cost and my profit, I can say, okay, maybe I need to rethink how this drink is built. Maybe I need to rethink what my costs are in this drink. One of the reasons why we did this is we started when we were using Big Train before we created our own frat powder or frat blender mix. Big Train is insanely expensive. I mean, if you guys, I'm sure everybody's used it at least a while at their coffee shops. And what I noticed after doing this was we were bleeding money just because the Big Train was so expensive. And that was actually one of the things that led us to then incorporating our own in-house Big Train mix, quote unquote Big Train mix, the frat powder, and ended up saving a ton of money. But just being aware of the fact that this is where I'm not making very much money, this is where I am making very much money, maybe I should highlight X drink on my menu as a big profit point. It really gives you a lot of information into how you should price your menu so that you're creating a menu that is designed well, but is also making you money, which of course that's what it's all about.
It gives you good and menus, especially if you're starting out, are fluid. You'll eventually want it slimmed down to things that are ordered the most and the things that have the highest profit point. So this gives you a window into, okay, this drink is costing me way too much money to make, and I don't sell very many of them. So maybe I can, take this off the menu without hurting myself too much.
Exactly.
And like Ben said, it gives you a good opportunity for highlighting areas for innovation. Okay, we could bring in our own blender powder and save X amount of dollars.
Yeah, I think this is a good, it's a great tool. It's awesome. But a good highlight too into like what you're paying for vendors, like the cost and just the breakdown of what they're charging. And maybe it's time to shop around when you're looking at, wow, this is where the most expensive part of this drink is coming from.
Yeah. I put this together for another coffee client who was making a lot of their own sauces and syrups, in-house sauces. And they, gave me their invoices for what they're paying for their ingredients to actually make these sauces in-house. And their costs were through the roof because they were making all these custom sauces, custom syrups, and their drinks were awesome and their customers loved them and kept ordering them. But one of the things they brought to me was, we're really busy and our customers keep coming through and they love our drinks, but we're not making enough money. We should be making this much. We're not making this. And went through and broke it down what they're doing. I was like, well, your sauces and your syrups are in like the 45 to 50 cent range per ounce. Like you're bleeding like 30 cents an ounce. So maybe we rethink that, or if that's like a no-go, we have to have these custom sauces. Maybe we find a way to reduce costs somewhere else. Cheaper cups.
Totally.
Your own frat powder. Find a way to eat that cost if that's a must-have. So again, super important to look at the pennies when it comes to your drinks. Okay, let's talk about competition and why that's so important. Local competition, what are the companies around you charging? I mean, we did this all the time with roasters. When we worked there, we were positioned smack dab in between Dutch Bros, which is super huge in the Northwest, and Starbucks, which is just super huge everywhere, right? When it came to pricing, Dutch Bros was about 25 to 50 cents cheaper than us. Starbucks was about 25 to 50 cents more expensive than us. And for us, sitting in the middle was perfect because when it came to our competition, you can the way I think about it is Walmart versus Trader Joe's. Like, what is your brand and how does that affect your pricing? Dutch Bros, and everybody in our area knew that Dutch Bros was like the Walmart. They were faster, they were cheaper. The product wasn't super high quality, so you got what you got when you expected there. And when you came to roasters and it was about 25 cents more, you just go, oh yeah, that makes sense. Because we tried to err more towards the side of, say, Trader Joe's, which is more expensive, maybe a little less quick, but you're getting a higher quality ingredient, higher quality product. Starbucks has always touted them as themselves as the highest quality, which, if you ask most people, it's not true, but their brand, the public sees them as a high quality or a luxury product when it comes to coffee. So thinking about your competition and where you want to sort of insert yourself in that competition when it comes to your branding and your pricing, and does your pricing reflect that? If I'm going to be the Walmart of coffee, like say a Dutch Bros, there's nothing wrong with that. There's a position for that and there's a market for that. But if that's sort of where I'm going to go with my branding, my pricing can't reflect $5 lattes. Like it just won't. People come through and they're like, your product's kind of crappy. Your people aren't very nice. They're just like, get in and get out, get in and get out. Like, why are you charging $5 for a latte? It's not really that good anyways. But on the flip side, if I'm trying to be a maybe more premium brand, a luxury product when it comes to fast coffee, if I'm charging $2 for a latte, people are gonna go, okay, we know what's going on here. You've got super crappy products. You're probably getting your milk from the guy who throws it out in the bin the day before at the back of the grocery store. You're not really this kind of company, right? I've seen it happen. Just kidding, I haven't. Or have I? But again, you think of pricing and branding in your local competition. Where do I fit in this sort of ecosystem of coffee shops in my area, and where do I want to stand out? For us, it worked really well to be in the middle. People knew they got a quality product that wasn't expensive as Starbucks, but it was better than Dutch Bros, our main competitor. And on the East Coast, that's what's the Dutch Bros equivalent on the East Coast? Like Dunkin' Donuts?
Dunkin' or yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, if you want to compete in that range, again, it's great. It's just as long as you're reflecting that in your menu. Or if you want to go super high premium, you could do that too. But good luck.
Our girls love it when we do a price increase. They're like, we're always going to be cheaper than Starbucks, right? And it's like their way of like comforting the customer every time we do a price raise. They're like, well, we're still cheaper than Starbucks, and the customer just kind of laughs it off, and it makes like a soft joke, but it
For
is
sure.
nice to like be able to say that and to support that.
Absolutely, which is again a great segue into the next piece, which is just that, like, is the experience that the customer is getting at your location separating you from the competition as well, and is it sort of verifying your menu price? Verifying, is that the right word? Yeah, maybe.
Justifying.
Yeah, justifying, that's what I'm looking for. Does it justify your menu, especially if you're doing a price increase?
Right.
If I come in and I'm used to my latte being $3.75 and I come in and now it's $4.50, what am I getting from that as a customer? Like, you've just increased my drink by 75 cents. Does the quality go up by that much too? Does my experience go up by that much too? If I know if I go to Starbucks and they charge me $4.75, well, I'm expecting that. I'm expecting to sort of, feel the burn of my cash at Starbucks because they're a giant corporation. I'm expecting a lower subpar quality. Like, I just know that. But if I'm coming to your shop and you want to stand out from your competition and you're going to charge me an increased price, okay, then how else are you going to stand out for your competition? Because I could just go to Starbucks and get that. So what in my experience at your stand is going to make me go, oh, I totally can justify this price by the experience that I had. And it doesn't have to just be the product. It could be your baristas, the culture of your company. That was really big whenever we did a price increase. That we had to do was every time we had a price increase, we had to justify the experience for the customer. If we're going to raise 25 cents a drink, our car times need to be at least 10 seconds faster, 15 seconds faster. Like, the customer needs to feel that their dollar is now going that much further and they're getting what they're paying for. What do they call it? Feeling the burn versus getting a bang for the buck. Like, if your customers come in and they go, holy, $4.75 or $4.50, that's not great for your pricing scheme. It means you're probably doing something wrong. Versus if they come through and they go, oh, that was $4.50. Oh, wow. Like, then okay, the experience justifies the price point. It's tough to do, but just think, anytime you increase price or anytime you set a higher price than your local competition, what justifies that increase? Not just justifies it in your brain, but justifies it from the customer point of view. Like, our buildings are a nice new blue color, $4.50 on lattes now.
We put lights on our menus.
Yeah. One thing that we used to do too was anytime we did a price increase, we'd hand out coupons for like 2 weeks. We had a handout that would have, like, 4 12-ounce drinks, 4 16-ounce drinks, 4 20-ounce drinks, whatever it is. It's like, get any drink for $2. And as they would come through and customers would be like, you guys raise prices? We go, yeah, but here's a coupon you can use for the next 2 weeks. And sort of soften the blow. And that was our way of sort of saying, like, you're getting a better experience now. We raise prices, but you're getting something back immediately. What did he call it all the time? Reciprocity. Reciprocating and giving back whenever you've been given something.
Equal value.
Exactly. A lot of information. 3 key points I want to nail down before we get to Slido, though, which I didn't leave in the comments, but it's just the 2 of us here, so anybody watching afterwards can find Slido on their own. Constantly evaluate your menu and your menu pricing. And by constantly, I mean like every 6 months. Especially in the world that we live in now, with the way prices are inflating, the way costs are inflating, the way especially food service is constantly increasing their prices. Evaluate your menu every 6 months to make sure that you're in line with not only your local area, in line with maybe minimum wage going up, that you're in line with maybe your competitor. This happened to a couple times with us, where Dutch Bros would increase prices, and we were actually able to hold off for a few months. So we were able to undercut them for a good amount of time. Would never know that unless we were actually looking at our menu and evaluating what our competition was doing. So we get a good 3 months of undercutting their prices, which means those Dutch Bros customers, they come in and they're like, oh, it's cheaper over here. And then we increase prices a month later. But we go, your experience was better, so you want to stay. So evaluating every 6 months. Your prices will probably have to increase annually. That's just the world we live in right now. I absolutely recommend trying as much as possible to not do that. Find ways you can cut costs anywhere else, but especially if you live in a state where like Washington State, where they have built-in rising minimum wage, your labor is going to go up every year. It's just built into the way it works, and so evaluating possibly increasing prices every year is something that you have to do, and you need to evaluate that constantly. Evaluating constantly also keeps you nimble ahead of Starbucks, because Starbucks cannot move as quickly as a lot of us smaller coffee shops can, especially if you've got 1 or 2 locations. So evaluating your menu will keep you nimble on getting ahead of the curve when it comes to the big boys and getting ahead of the curve on your smaller local competition. And then, like I said, if you ever have to do a price increase, make sure that you're giving something to the customer that increases their experience, whether it's more smiles from the baristas, or coupons, or an extra high five, or maybe they get more loyalty points. That's an easy thing to do too. Like
free gallon of gas.
free gallons, and that's way more than that. Like you can buy a coffee or a gallon of gas today, which would you prefer? Seriously,
choosing us.
but points was a really easy one. Like for a price increase for the next week, increase everybody's stamps by 1. People love that, and it doesn't really cost you a ton, but it's a really easy way to give that customer an added experience.